A client that I worked with a number of years ago who had a business, and we were working together on his sales and business success and his profitability within his business. And one of the things that kept happening was he'd have a really, really great month with lots of sales and lots of projects going on. And then what would happen is he would then have a really terrible month where nothing much happened and things kind of plateaued out. It was a pattern that went on months and months and months and months. And as we reflected on the profitability of his business over a 12 to 24 month period, what we saw was a trend of exactly that going on. He would be in an away from motivation state. I actually think that motivation is a little bit of rubbish because there are so many people that are waiting for motivation in order to get started and to actually produce things. And today I'm going to share the secret around what you have to have instead of motivation that's actually going to sustain all of the work that you're doing and the habits that you're looking to transform. And so what he'd do is he would say, oh my gosh, here I am with no money. I don't want to be broke, and all this internal dialogue. And he would work really hard, pushing himself further and further away from no money in the bank or worry about money. Now, when he put enough distance between himself and the pain, the motivation disappeared, because it's like, phew, there's some money in the bank. I can pay the bills. I can tell my kids that I can buy those things that they want for them. And that sense of relief actually came along from the distance between him and the pain. When we started to take away this away from motivation of not wanting to be broke, everything was about all the behaviors that he was driving, all the habits that he was driving was coming from a place and an urgency of, I don't want to be broke, I don't want to be worried about money. And so what we saw was that his focus was always about not enough and never having enough in the bank account or constantly having to be stressed about that. And so when he wrote his goals and his intentions and he put his habits to where he wanted them to be, he was actually able to name what was the dollar figure in recurring revenue that he wanted to see come into his bank account every single week at a minimum of. And so he continued to strive towards that.